Thanks, Alan. Now to sport, and thousands of racing fans defied the wet weather to get a glimpse of the Melbourne Cup and some past champions on the eve of the race. Several hundred protesters were also at the annual parade after the recent revelations of poor treatment of some retired racehorses. Those involved in tomorrow's event were squarely focused on the $8 million prize on offer. Ben Lisson reports.
It was damp on the tracks in Melbourne, but racing fans lined the barriers to see the Melbourne Cup, former champions and some horses that were smaller than their jockeys.
It's just a buzz, you know, the whole world's watching a certain race.
Everybody's so friendly and it's got a cool vibe.
While the music and the rain dances kept the crowd entertained, those with a job to do on Cup Day were casting their minds ahead.
There's at least half the field that you can make a really, really good case for, and I'd put Prince of Arran in that bracket.
We're very confident. The horse has travelled down really well, and he's been training really well since he's been here.
Damien Lane will ride favourite Mer de Glace and could become the first jockey in history to win the Caulfield Cup, the Cox Plate and the Melbourne Cup in one season.
It doesn't worry me because it's not something that's going to affect the outcome of the race.
For Craig Williams, who will ride Vow and Declare, it's been an elusive trophy.
Because I haven't won it, it's just another handicap, but if I win it tomorrow, I'm sure I'm going to say it's the greatest race on earth.
The Cup's drawn horses from around the world.
That's why it's so tough and so special to win if you can.
There was little doubt who these New Zealanders are backing.
Go the chosen one! Yeah!
They're making a lot of noise, and that's what us New Zealanders like doing, isn't it?
Several hundred protesters made their voices heard too.
No excuse for animal abuse!
Demonstrations were similar to previous years, but follow last month's revelations of poor treatment of some retired thoroughbreds.
We've got rallies happening all over the country tomorrow, and we've got been inundated with phone calls of people who are really distressed about what they've seen.
For most at the parade, though, it's the Cup that's captured their attention.
We're here for a good time. I'm not worried about protesters.
Weather can't stop it. Demonstrators can't stop it.
As the race that stops a nation runs for the 159th time. Ben Lisson, ABC News, Melbourne.
And our reporter Elias Clure is at Flemington. Elias, how will the wet weather we've seen affect tomorrow's race?
Good evening to you, Mary. Well, Flemington looks spectacular at the moment, but as you mentioned, and apologies for this pun, it's been a mare of a day. Currently the track is rated a soft 6, which means it will suit the thoroughbreds that like it soft underfoot, including Cross Counter, which won the race in similar conditions last year. Now that's the verdict on the track. The weather could also affect things off the track. Last year, when similar conditions lashed Flemington, crowds dropped by 7,000 compared to the previous year, but a silver lining is that the weather is expected to clear by tomorrow.
I'll just forgive that pun, Elias, but as we know, the lead up to this year's Cup hasn't been ideal for organisers on a number of fronts. How are they responding? Yeah, that's right, Mary. Well, vision of horses being killed by the thousands in knackeries has rocked the sport. The VRC and Racing Victoria has acknowledged that it does have an image problem. Interestingly, today, Giles Thompson, the CEO of Racing Victoria, also said that the whip also poses an image problem. He anticipates that it could be phased out within 10 to 15 years. That's in the pipeline, though. Racing authorities' current focus well and truly on the race that stops the nation. Indeed. Elias Clure at Flemington, thank you.